Hello, and welcome to the Indie Comics Club. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes, creator of Pizza Boys, that's Pizza Boys with a Z, with co-host, as always.
Oh, I'm back. It's me, your boy, Greg Johnson, creator of Project Savior. Hello.
And it's been at least 6+ months, if not longer. It's been probably longer than that. That's
If probably it's not longer, yeah.
I almost want to say
You would.
last time we did it was like summertime of last year.
Well, we tried to get back
maybe
into the rhythm of things. We
maybe
didn't.
maybe we got a couple episodes in like September or August or something like that. I almost
I think we're gonna call this a reboot. This is Indie Comics Club 2.0.
Yeah, this is like coming back at you, jumping back in the groove and so on. But in that time of absentness, how's your book been coming along?
Slow. Like, it's difficult, right? Because lockdown has not been kind to anyone over here.
I'd assume England's probably like California, where it's probably on like the highest lockdown of any place.
Well, England's just under full lockdown. You're not supposed to be going anywhere. So we had the first lockdown start in March, and I got issue 5 out the end of the first lockdown, but you still couldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no conventions. All the conventions got cancelled for the rest of the year. Most of them have been cancelled for this year. So far, I haven't, like, other than the core people who follow it, I haven't been able to actually sell it.
Uh-huh.
So I've just been kind of like, well, what's the point? Like, I can't sell it. I can't get it out there, so there's no point doing it. If that makes sense. Like, most of my sales are from in person at conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, without them, there's nothing.
Well, that's
so I can't.
Or go ahead.
So I kind of haven't been like pushing, and plus I'd got loads of commissions in, and especially that big one that took us. What did that take us? Like 2.5 months. That big.
Yeah, the splash page
one.
double poster feature that had.
Yeah,
that was actually.
I think it actually works out. I think it prints is 1 meter wide.
Well, that one's like it. Like I look at that like picture you did, and that's almost like something that you would hang like behind a bar. Or, if you had like a rumpus room or a man cave, you could have it above like your pool table or something like that. Because it's just one of those ones that you could sit there and look at for a long time and go, oh shit, there's that character over there. Or, oh, check it out, what's going on over there. Like it really has that like long-term kind of like you're going to stare at it for a moment,
Yeah.
There's just so much detail and action going on in that thing.
That was a challenge and a half. Like, it took a long time to do, and then I had, what else did I have? I had a A3 like Marvel crossover canvas that someone wanted hand painting.
Uh-huh.
That took a while. I had a Harley Quinn commission, and then I've had.
You had the Predator one?
Yep, I had the Predator one versus my main character, which was lit.
Yeah, no,
that came out awesome.
Well, see, at least the kind of cool thing there is even though that's, technically not work going towards like the issues themselves, but sometimes that little bit of alternative kind of work can almost kind of give you kind of different challenges, different inspirations, different ways to get sort of influenced and kind of change the pace up a bit.
It's still learning stuff.
Yeah.
I've just done another one there. Someone wanted their girlfriend turning into a gladiator. Remember the old Gladiator show from the 90s?
Oh yeah.
They wanted to turn them into one of them.
Oh, that's a different choice. Yeah, that's interesting.
Commission's a commission, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I don't know why, just 1 week I was just like, do you know what it is? I quite fancy doing. I did both Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what, and they weren't even like the traditional Sinister Six. I just had, who did I have? Venom, Goblin, Sandman, Ock, Vulture, Venom, Arc, Vulture, Goblin, Sandman, Venom. Yeah. And then right after that, I did Batman versus Bane.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I did them. I was just in the mood.
Yeah, sometimes you just kind of fall in that, like, hey, let's give something else a go and see
But
what happens.
I was like, so which one of these does everyone prefer? Batman and Bane one got no love at all.
That's kind of surprising. But then again, we all know that there's always going to be a Marvel bias, probably.
True.
DC.
I thought I really enjoyed doing the Batman one because I've never done like that version of Bane before.
Mm-hmm.
Just the big behemoth.
Yeah.
And I had Batman all like fucked up. I had like his suit ripped. It was great. Like I made his cape huge.
Mm-hmm.
Did I go? Yeah, and I went with the blue. I went with the blue and grey.
Yeah,
I was going to go black and grey.
Style.
Yeah, I don't know why I just really fancied the blue.
I like the blue cape. I personally like the blue cape with like the dark like shadows. I think always looks really cool.
Oh, I meant to tell you as well. I watched Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, finally! There's probably been a handful of DCU movies that have come out between last time we podcasted. So it's like indie comics. Let's talk some DC.
I know, but we have to really. I see it gets a lot of hate.
I liked it a lot. I actually liked it more than the first Wonder Woman movie, personally.
I still think I like the first one more. The first one was just fresh and like I don't know. I feel like it was more like dialed in. I think the second one tried to do some stuff that people weren't ready for. But the bit I particularly like. I mean, it's been out what? It's been out a few months now. It's not spoilers.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So my favorite bit was when she had to renounce her wish. Because she was already fucked up. You could see it. Like, it was the hardest thing she's ever done.
Yeah.
And just that scene of where where she renounces it and you see, like, a change. Like, from being, like, it's the fact that you knew she was weak, but you couldn't sort of see it, but then you see the difference. And then when she just leaps away, I was like, that's lit.
Oh, yeah. No. That part is sweet. I think that's almost what threw people off, though, is because the people that aren't, like, I guess, hardcore, like, DC/Wonder Woman or kind of, like, in the know of it, they just kind of know Wonder Woman kind of just, like, by name.
Yeah.
I really think that the magic part threw off just, like, the kind of, like, the regular audience member coming in, not the affiliated DC fan.
I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch. Like, I think they wobbled a little bit. Like, as much as I really like the scene where she's trying to stop that convoy, and like that was the start of her starting to get weak. But when she let go of that rope and them kids hit that floor, I was like, "There's no way you stop them from dying because they were dead."
I know. I thought the same thing too when I watched that part.
I was like, "They are toast." I don't care what you said; they would have been toast.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that it was still like it was trying though. Like it wasn't just like action. It was like, wait there, she's already getting weaker. She's trying to save people. Like, fucking just let them fucking have it.
Yeah.
But what can you do? What else came out?
There was the Kung Fu Batman.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, dude, I loved it a lot. I thought that one was totally awesome.
I saw the Superman one.
The Superman, the one that had the different animation in it. That was real good too. What the heck was that one called?
Yeah. I read it. At first, I wasn't keen on it, but then it grew on us.
Yeah. No, I was a big fan of that.
Liked it.
That animation style, and it was really cool. God, what the heck was that one called? I'm drawing a blank on it, but that was really neat. And the next one coming out has like kind of that same style
Justice
animation.
Society.
Yeah, it's a Justice Society during WW2.
Like that's the way they're doing the reboot, because I think that's the Flash that left up the Apocalypse War.
I love how it's always Flash just somehow, some way, like meddling in
time. That's a really nice timeline you got there. Be a shame if I fuck it up.
You know, Flash is always getting involved in something or another. But no, there was a bunch of good DCU ones. Check out, when you get a chance, check out the Soul of the Dragon. I thought that was cool. It's pretty much like a Masters of Kung Fu story that just happens to have Batman in it, but you can never go wrong with happen to have Batman in it.
Nice.
But nice. But yeah, I know it's just kind of like this time period, just like me working on Pizza Boys. It's just been like kind of trucking along
Well,
in the
you
background.
banged out like 5 issues, didn't you?
I think it sounded more like intense than it really was. But
Well, it sounded pretty intense to me because I'm sure I left on. Oh, what one? What was the last one you sent me? 11?
yeah, well, because I
10?
think I sent you 11. I think was the last one. Because I
And
think
what are you up to now? 19?
no, I'm on like 12.
No, you're not.
I'm not that far along. I'm not a
Bullshit.
Derek here who just can just
There's
make a
no
graphic novel.
you banged out way more than one issue.
No,
I'm calling. Nah, I'm calling some bullshit there, mate. Where is it? Let me go through this guy. Right, so I have. So that's 11. Oh, I haven't read 11.
yeah, no, 11 was the last one I kind of did, but like I've been like sort of overlapping them, so it makes it feel like there's almost more. Like I'll literally have one done, and while I'm kind of working on the next one, and then
What? Which was the one with the fucking god damn it! I can't. I keep swearing as well. Which was the laser tag? Which one was laser tag?
that was 9.
So you did do 2.
Well, I
So it's
did.
10 and 11 I haven't done.
Yeah, I did 9, 10, and 11 pretty much last year.
All right, so
And
you still got 2 out.
and technically 12. So 12 is just
Technically 12.
yeah. I'm getting there. I just got to finish. I got about like 8 or 9 more pages left to ink, and boom, I'll be set and
Right.
ready to go for 12. And then, because it's at this kind of weird time that, like, I mean, I kid you not, like, last year plus, like when I was in like the hospital for like the cancer thing, I remember the first thing I was thinking about, like, man, the second I get out of this hospital, I'm gonna hit up like every Comic-Con there is, from California to Nevada to Oregon. Doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna go like touring in like my band or something like that. Because I kind of got to that point where like the last few Comic-Cons I did, I guess almost like year and a half plus ago, I was like, you know what? If I probably was able to hit one of these at least every single weekend, I could probably be doing pretty golden. Because I was like, you go there, you pull out your Kurt Russell kind of sales tactics from like used cars, you work the crowd and whatnot. And I was like, I think I could pull this off and like literally continuously keep selling. And the nice thing too is there is something way different than like, being in person to really like show your comic to somebody and talk to them and have that face to
Mhm.
face interaction. You just don't get the same thing online. You know what I mean? Like online's fine for the people you already sort of know, but I feel like,
Yeah.
not saying you can't get new people that way too, but like it's not. I feel like it's just not as easy or not the same. It's like there's like a missing experience. So I just kind of
Uh-huh.
feel like in this dead time that we have, where it's like, because I really don't think, realistically, I don't know what Comic Con's going to show up even in 2020, especially if you're in the California area. Maybe if I went out to Florida or something like that, I might be able to find something, but no, not here at the moment. So I think now's the time to kind of like, hey, I'm going to build up. I'm going to get my 3 graphic novels together, kind of get those ready, get the merchandise, get a handful of T-shirts, get the kind of little extra bells and whistles and whatnot. Kind of have that sort of prepped and ready, so that when those Comic Cons do kind of happen, you're ready to kind of go to town and just be like, let's just do it. Let's literally, I really want to picture it like touring like a band almost. Like I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna just hit them up like road shows, and in my opinion, like I know this is kind of like almost like a dream of kind of sort, but I'm like, I thought it'd always be fun to do is just if you got a gang of comic book creators together and you literally went to Comic Cons, no different than like touring. It's just like you got like yourself like a cool van and whatnot, and you just kind of drove up and down like the country going to different ones, and then you could kind of technically split the price of the tables and all that good stuff.
That's not a bad. Yeah, that could work.
Like me and Derek should come over there to England at some point, and we'll just go tour
Oh, dude,
everywhere.
there'd be nothing left.
We'll just we'll rent a van there, and then we'll just pilot around and go
Do you know?
there.
Do you know this? I paid up front for like 3 or 4 Comic Cons, and all of them got pushed back.
I almost did that, and then I was like, because it was last year, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna pay for these because I really have a.
But I booked them the year before.
Oh yeah. Because a lot of times you got to book them way in advance, or else you might not get your spot.
Yeah, like I'm sure it was. I'm sure it's 3, and they've all just been knocked back and knocked back, and I'm like, ugh.
Well,
Like
yeah.
I've forgotten what a con's even like at this point.
Well, I remember there was a couple of them that came out that sounded kind of like an interesting idea. They were gonna do like a tailgate style Comic-Con, but then, like, the downfall is, like, the price they were charging was, like, the same price for, like, the indoor ones. I'm like, "Well, 1, now that if it's outside, we're gonna be taking up all that parking spot that would've been for, like, people showing up to the Comic-Con, so I can't imagine there being as much parking, and how is there gonna
Yeah.
be even close to the amount of people there?" I'm like, I feel like, if we're gonna do it that style, we're gonna split it up and make it, like, have distance and so on like that, it's almost like, gotta be, like, next to nothing. It's almost like an
Yeah.
experiment.
Yeah. I just wish there was something.
Yeah. It's just a bummer not having anything like that because it's just one of those ones where it's like, I don't know. Because I think also, too, you go to the con and you talk to people and you get inspired and you see some other creators and whatnot. And it's kind of like there's this little camaraderie thing going on. And once again, it's just like, I just feel like it's just not the same online. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could talk to some people and it's
Uh-huh.
still a good time, but it's not like, yeah, it's not like going out and having the event and seeing stuff and seeing other people's stuff and going like you see somebody else's style of doing it. You're like, I want to give that a go. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try this out next time. And then you do the kind of thing where you add all the your little different banners and so on to your list of things to have and whatnot. But yeah, I think this year is gonna be another year where it's just like, hey, prep everything up, get it set and ready to rock and roll for when the time comes. But till then, yeah, the only thing you really do is just kind of piece together your stuff. Like, I think for your book, it's almost like the thing to do is finish up the issues, get the graphic novel ready in this like downtime, and then when the
The
time comes, boom, you got a book that you can run around and start slapping people in their faces.
the plan. This is what the plan was. The plan was get issue 6 done and have its run. Then, for the 3-year anniversary in April,
Mm-hmm.
was to launch the Kickstarter for the graphic novel,
Mm-hmm.
so that it was like on the 3 years, and to like not only would it be just a graphic novel with the 6 issues, it's going to have all 6 issues, a full remaster slash remake of issue 1, which I've already teased on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 2 and 3 are getting a paint job so that there's more uniform between all the issues. And then you're also going to get about 20 to 25 pages of like stuff like my original stuff that I came up with in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
The different costumes that he's had over the last 10 years.
Just the big old special
Uh,
features section.
Yep, a gallery with all of the variant covers, like all nice and like nothing else on them, like none of the logos and everything, just the art by itself. And then with like the creator's name on it as well. And the goal is if we can, I'll do it as just a paperback, but if we hit the stretch goal, I'll do it as a hardback.
Mm-hmm. That'd be neat.
But I'm not doing like a stupid amount of like different tiers.
No,
Like it's just going to be, so here's the digital one,
mm-hmm.
here's the physical one. Choose.
Yeah, well, you know what? I like that idea so much more. Like, I'm kind of like I personally don't like when there's the tiers and there's like 25 different choices to go because that to me always
Yeah.
confuses me. I'm like, well, what's the one? It's just like at the end
But
of
I
the day,
don't want it to be. But like you see them, and like people will charge like crazy amounts of money
yeah,
for a single comic, and like the graphic novels are usually like it's not worth getting them to the UK because they charge like $30-something for the book,
and then it's like
and then it's
30
like
bucks
another
to ship it.
$25 for the post, and it's like no. Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and work something out for the like shipping abroad to see if there's anything I can do so it's not as expensive.
you know what you
But I
need?
don't want to I don't want to be coming up with like a bazillion things to give away in the tiers when I could just give everyone the same. Like if we hit stretch goals, I'll give people extra stuff, not because they've paid extra, just because they're interested in the book.
Exactly. Well, I was gonna say I got an idea though for you when it comes to shipping it, at least in the U.S. and maybe Canada and Mexico. Is
Hmm.
if you get people that buy the physical books in there, that's where you use something like Indie Planet for like the print on demand because then you just order them through that and they'll ship them
Tried it.
from.
Indie Planet won't let us on.
Really? It's because
Yeah,
you're
I
not
can't.
American.
I think that's what it was. I tried signing up to it before, and it just told us to jog on.
That's so weird because it's like me and
Which was
Derek both have used that in actually like real good success, and because that's what I thought would have been the thing for you, is just been like, oh well, if you just use that, because they're like from Indianapolis or something like that, so they would just ship everything out from there, and then you'd never have to worry about shipping it internationally, because that's always the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing about comic books. Comic books are just they just almost don't work. Books do not work very good for shipping internationally. It's like there's not really like a proper like postage for it. Like in the US, there's this thing called media mail. Now, technically, it's supposed to be made for textbooks because they just weigh so much, and that's kind of like where it is.
Yeah.
But kind of get away with it for like I think any kind of book. And that kind of works fine, but that only ships in the US, but it keeps it at a reasonable price. There's no like international media mail for some odd reason.
Mm-hmm. See, like here, it's not too bad sending stuff. It's just when it goes to the States, then it just gets it just goes to shit.
Well, that's the same thing that I kind of had too, like with shipping things outside. Like I had to ship one of my books to like Afghanistan. Luckily, it was a military base, so it kind of like worked out better because I was kind of afraid of what that was going to be like. I was like, oh god. It's like, what's going to be the price for that? It's one thing to ship to like England or Australia, some place that kind of has a normal shipping route. But then I was like, wait a second, what's this going to be like?
Yeah. I haven't done Afghanistan like that, I must say.
So it's always kind of fun when you sort of have to challenge you there. But
I'm
yeah.
having a look on Indie Planet again to see. I can't even find out. I can't even remember how to do it.
Yeah, well, because it's a little bit tricky. I remember I even had to ask Derek on kind of how to do it, because you almost have to do the thing where you make a Kablam account first, then you get the Indie Planet account, then you go back.
Well, I've got an Indie Planet account, but I don't think it's like a seller account.
Yeah, you might have to convert it over to there, but you have the Kablam account.
What the hell's a Kablam account?
Okay, so Kablam is the printing studio. Indie Planet's like the seller store. So yeah, it's kind of goofy. And then you gotta do the thing where you gotta order.
I think this is where I went and had the problem.
Yeah, as I said, it was a little confusing for me at first too. So it's like, make both those accounts because they're all kind of tied together. And then what you gotta do is you gotta order a test copy of your book, for it to be on sale on there.
I think that's why, because they can't do as a test sample because I'm not in the States.
Well, you know what you do? Just send that test sample to me or Derek, and then we can just kind of work it out that way. That might not be that'd probably be a practical way. At least then you could at least get that store set up. And then, if anything, you got a place to ship it to for at least Canada, North America, Canada, Mexico, US.
Right. I mean, I can have a look into it and see what it's like.
Because I feel like it's nice to have that print on demand too, anyways, just for, say if like someone's like, hey, I kind of want a physical copy, and like,
Oh, they've actually added in now. You can select a UK address.
Might just be the ideal time.
This is interesting. We might be onto something here, boys.
Yeah, that's okay. We're making indie comic progress right here. I'm just trying to figure out these things.
Absolute facts.
Because
it doesn't like me phone number. What phone number would you like? Because I ain't got a landline.
I don't know.
Well, I do, and I don't use it.
Well, worst case scenario, give them my phone number. They've never called me before, so.
I don't know. Like, come on now. It's 2021. You can't have a website asking for a landline number. Like, that's just silly.
I know I didn't put a landline number on there. I put a cell phone number on my account.
Well, fine. If you're going to take an English, address, why would you not take... No, it does not like that neither. Like, what? Do you want the +44 instead?
Well, probably at least put in your because English addresses are at least easy compared to like, have you ever had to ship something to Russia and they give you one of the Russian addresses in Russian and you're looking at your keyboard going, wait a second, I don't have these letters.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I've done that one a few times where it's like, let's see how we're gonna get this one going.
All right, so I can't go any further because it wants a valid phone number, but it won't accept a valid phone number.
Yeah, well, after the show, we'll mess with it, and worst case scenario, you can give him my phone number, and I'll be like your secretary.
Son of a. Wait there. What if I just put a 5 in front of it? Damn it. That was going to be a case of if I put in like 555.
I've done that many a times where it's like I've done that for shipping packages where it's just like, yeah, just put a regular, just give me a movie phone number on there and it works.
Son of a bitch.
But yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think speaking of like the 2021 plan of kind of getting everything sorted together, I think finish the issues, get your graphic novel ready and set, and then just kind of get it all prepped and prepared for shipping to all over
Well,
different
to be fair,
places. Mm-hmm.
once issue 6 is done, it'll only take 2 minutes just to add them all together, and then it's just sorting out the other pages of fluff in it.
Uh-huh.
Like it's probably not that big of a job. It's just printing it. Like,
Yeah.
but it's not. It unfortunately isn't a thing where I can do like I can do with the normal comics and just order them. Like
Mm-hmm.
graphic novels are way more expensive,
You know,
and you
oddly,
get a lot less.
for me, the graphic novels are actually cheaper because
That doesn't make any sense.
if I compare it, like, okay, so I got Pizza Boys and I got 4 issues, and I was gonna print those ones out compared to just printing out those 4 issues in a graphic novel. The graphic novel is at least like 20% cheaper.
That doesn't make any sense.
You
Like,
know,
surely it should be cheaper to print them individually.
it's weird. It's just like I can get them actually just a bit cheaper because of the graphic. I think it's because it's being kind of combined together. Because that's where I was looking at. Like I had the idea for Pizza Boys. I also wanted to kind of make an omnibus and put all 3
Uh-huh.
of those graphic novels together, so you get issues 1 through 12 in one big book. And that's even cheaper in a sense if you compare it to like the single issues printout. So I feel like that would be kind of fun to have some of those. So if you were at a Comic Con and somebody really is like, "Hey, I've never read any of these before. I'm interested. I want the whole collection." You slap down this phone book looking comic. You'd be like, "Here you go. It's got all 12 of them in one."
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then I was even thinking like I almost want to kind of try putting it because it's still on Amazon. I don't know why, but their print on demand service still doesn't have a comic book size. I can't figure this out. They've been around forever. They own Comixology. Why would they not have a comic book size? I've even asked them that before, and the people are like, "Huh, funny. I'll put that up into the questionnaire box and whatnot." But there's that kind of other size that you'll see every once in a while on certain graphic novels, not like a manga size, but like it's almost like the in between a manga and like a traditional kind of comic book. And
Uh-huh.
like the best thing I can say is like the Strangers in Paradise graphic novels that I have, like the big book versions, are called like pocket books or something like that. They're like in that size, and I think I could almost kind of like shrink it down just slightly to fit into one of those pocketbook sizes, and then I might be able to print it off Amazon on one of their kind of print sources because Amazon does a really great job. Like for like the novels that I bought from buddies, like they look great, they look amazing. Like what comes out of there, so it's just like I'd love to see what their comic book can kind of print if you fit it in there, and that might be the almost the go-to place for a print on demand thing, and then it would be kind of nice also for like something like the omnibus and so on.
So it's weird, right? For some reason, I can get a hardback cheap-ish.
That's interesting because I always thought the hardback always, at least I almost wanted to
It's
say,
not.
cost like $5 more per, you know.
It's not that bad. But you don't get as many copies as you would if you were buying just a single issue.
Mhm,
So the lowest they do is 25. It, so 144 pages it would be.
mhm,
And it's probably works out at double what it would cost for me to just print 100 of my normal ones.
mhm.
No, what did I? No. Yeah, it's about double what I would pay for just a single issue.
Well, and getting 25 of them wouldn't be so bad, just kind of because then you could kind of test them out, see how you like the print and everything like that, and then
Well, these guys are usually spot on. Like they've done issues 4 and 5,
mhm.
and they've been unreal. So I'm kind of hoping. that this will just be the same. So if I went for the other thing, I don't think they do the sizes the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go to graphic novel and it just says A5, A4, and then some weird ass ones.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think either of them are quite right, so I'm just going for A4 at the minute.
Yeah, that's always kind of. You always feel like you kind of want it to be like, can you just give me the exact like dimensions?
Yeah. I'm just wondering what it's gonna say about cover. Yeah, yeah. That's for 100. Jesus H Christ.
But well, it looks like you at least got some kind of choices and so on. But I will say, I do like the idea.
Oh, there's £100 difference between hardback and paperback.
Oh, that sounds about right. I would expect it to be. I mean, look when you go to buy like a Marvel book and they have like the hardback version, they charge like an extra $10 for it.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's hardback.
So what does that make that then? So that. Okay. So now I'm seeing the difference.
But yeah,
It's all stuff to think about.
Yeah, I mean, there's all those kind of things going, but I think also keeping that Kickstarter as like, hey, there's a digital and there's a physical, and that's it. I like that idea right there because it just keeps it from being like, hey, there's not, you know what you're getting into. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of fluff kind of in the way and whatnot. It's not confusing like some people just have some. They're just there's so many choices that they're confusing, and it almost feels like as you go up in the tiers, you start losing certain things too. And I'm like, what? What am I losing here? You know what I mean? Like, why is there like more stuff on tier 3 than there is on tier 5? I'd like, you know, and I know that like people read those things online. It says, hey, you should have like 50 different things for people to choose from because they like choices. And it's like, I really don't think that is the case. I think it's best to actually keep
there's having choices, and then there's just overwhelming.
Yeah, you know,
like, I mean, you don't need to have 60 billion different types. Like, as long as what you're offering is like good, you're fine. Like, you don't need to like try and think of several different things to give away when you can just say like, look at like if you pay like I don't know, say for example it's a hardback, so we're like right, you pay 25 quid, right? That's ballpark. That's gonna get you the book. Then, if we reach the goal in full, I'm going to put this in. If we get to the stretch goal after that, I'm going to put this in. And this is going to be for everyone. Not because you've bought this tier or this tier. It's going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
And you're only doing one payment. Everyone's just paying the same and getting the same.
Yeah, you just get more because more people have bought in.
Yeah.
You know? And that totally makes sense. And it's almost like, I guess the only separation would be like, hey, here's a digital one, and then the physical one's going to have more stuff shipped with it, I guess. You'd have to...
I mean, yeah, the physical one's probably going to get more than what the digital one is. Not much I can do about that.
Yeah, I feel that's definitely to be expected. You know what I mean?
But there's also going to be a massive price difference between the digital one and the physical one.
Yeah, because there's not shipping and there's not printing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I will say, have you ever seen one of, do you know the comic book Lady Death?
Vaguely.
Like, it's kind of one of those 90s, like, super gothic, kind of like, almost in the category of, like, Spawn and all the kind of demon kind of stuff. They're really cool books and so on like that, and the dude's been doing them for, like, ever, Brian Dolo or whatever his name is, but, it's one of those ones, like, I've seen a couple of his Kickstarters, which at first I was like, cool, that guy's still doing it, because it's like, it's kind of hard to run across a Lady Death comic sometimes in stores, like, when you're looking for them. And then it was just like, I go on there, it's like, he's making like $500,000 on like every single book, and you're like,
Jesus.
And it's weird because it's one of those books. It's like, God, I can go to a comic book store and I'd be hard pressed to be able to find a Lady Death book in there. But I think he's just got that fan base. It's like it's that kind where it's like, you know, like that saying that you only need like 10,000 fans, and you could pretty much live off that for the rest of your life. I think that's almost kind of how it is. He's got those like 10,000 people that are like will spend like $100 on him every single year, pretty much, if not more.
Damn.
But like that's one of those ones where it's like it's confusing because I remember like 'cause that's like one of my girlfriend's favorite books. So I was like, well, I'll just buy her some of those things on it. But I'm like, you go on there, it's like hardcover, soft cover, double books, this book, This one comes with an action figure. This one doesn't. It's like, there's too many choices. I don't know what's going on here. And he's making like, $666,000. Like, what's going on?
This is also true.
It is. I mean, granted, like they're all like done in super pristine, so probably about half that goes to printing and so on. But at the end of the day, I'm like, damn it, this guy's making a killing. And it's like one of those ones I feel like, I don't think anybody would think much of it, like unless you actually saw the numbers. You're like, holy crap. Because that would have been almost like, not saying that it's like it's not independent by any means, but it's definitely would have been like one of those kind of like, you're not Marvel, you're not DC, you're not Image, you're not Dark Horse, you're kind of like farther down that tier of companies. And it goes to show that, man, you just keep with it, you can still like turn out these huge books, even if you just got that certain amount of followers.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's it's the classic thing. I mean, a lot of times I even think, gosh, if you just had 10,000 people that spent $10 on you a year, you could like be pretty well off.
Yeah, that's the dream.
It really is. See, and without Comic-Cons, I feel like it's harder to bring that number to, full realization. Because, what I mean? It's like you need to go out there and meet the people and show the people and tell the people and chat with the people and and create that kind of camaraderie. And I feel that's the key thing that's sort of missing.
That's it.
But
this is very true. I'm trying to find the remember that thing that everyone kept sharing? It was like, if you're doing a Kickstarter, use this calculator to see how much you should actually.
I thought that was on Kickstarter itself, but maybe I'm totally wrong.
I can't find it.
I mean, the upside I'll say for yours is if you're just got, in a sense, like, let's minus out the digital for the moment, but you're just looking at the physical, like, it's one graphic novel. You really just got to calculate it by how much it costs to print those graphic novels out.
Yeah, but you've got to add on the fees.
Well, they're like 10%. So you add that 10% onto there too. And then you just have like what I would do is I would take the book, how much it costs to print out however many you think you're going to need. Then you would have, the shipping, add that up. And then you would have the fees, add that up. And then probably double it, just so you know that you're in the golden zone.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Because then
I'll keep looking into it.
Then at least you'll be able to get all that stuff done. You won't be under budget. You'll be making just the right amount that you need. Because I always think the key thing is, like, I always look at stuff and I go, however much it costs me to print it, I generally just double it for selling it. Like, that's kind of my thing. If it costs me this much to get it, then I'll just double it to sell it. And granted, we all know, we see some people on there and it's like, well, that person like quadrupled it because I know how much it costs to print it.
Yeah.
Or it's like, it's sometimes when you'll see like art prints, you know what I mean? You'll see like an art print going for like, you're like, that person's selling that for like $35. They probably went down to Staples and paid like $1.25 to print it out.
Yeah.
Not saying anything against making some money and so on like that, but you know what I mean? Like, holy crap.
That's fair. Total amount you actually need.
But I do think it's kind of nice to, like, in a sense, to not be like overbearing by saying like, hey, in this tier you're gonna get like a bookmark and you're gonna get like a poster and you're gonna get like all these things. And sometimes there's some of those items that I feel are kind of the novelty items that people kind of, they sort of look at and they go, huh, that's cool. And then they stick it right in like a dresser drawer and never to be seen again. Like, I always feel like that's why, like, when I came up with some of like the items that I won, like I use like that pizza cutter bottle opener thing. Like, what I liked about that is that's an item that someone can look and be like, hey, this is pretty sweet. But instead of just kind of going to a drawer and never being used, it has a high chance of being like, oh, cool, I can use this to open up, bottles. I can cut pizza with it. I mean, I don't know how many times somebody calls me and be like, dude, using your pizza cutter works fantastic. Or, I'll just get pictures online sometimes of people opening beers and it's like, got the koozie out there and got the bottle opener. It's like, I felt like that was kind of a good item where I kind of fear for like, certain things that, like, even though they're kind of cool, you don't want them to get kind of lost.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like, I kinda like the idea of
I'm
making,
gonna
like,
do
everyday items.
I'm gonna do loads of research before I do it. I think I just get sidetracked.
Yeah, I know what you mean there, because like, even with myself, like, I'm thinking that once I finish Pizza Boys issue 12, the goal is finish that, then put together the graphic novel, and then once again, I'm preparing myself all for, you know, the Comic-Con and so on whenever they do come. I may do I didn't do a Kickstarter for Pizza Boys 11. I kind of stopped doing them for like the singular issues. I felt like that to me always seems sort of silly. I was just doing it because I didn't have any
Yeah,
other options really. It was just like, well, we don't have, you know, our old places to sell. We don't have Comic Cons. We don't have that. I'm like, well, I'll just do mini Kickstarters, what I kind of call them. And, they're not bad, but I feel like maybe I'll kind of wait for it. Maybe the third book or something like that. Give it another go and kind of make it kind of big there. But then my kind of main goal is almost to sort of do the thing where once I sort of finish up with the graphic novel and kind of have, all 12 issues ready and so on, is kind of stop and go like, okay, I got 3 books. Let's kind of go out there and kind of market them, push them out there, kind of get them shared around and do a little bit more of the advertising kind of part too. Cause I know myself, like, I mostly feel like I can always either do one or the other. And a lot of times I'll be like, well, I'm working on the issue. So then, like, I almost just disappear and, just go into like the darkness and just go on my work and so on and kind of
yeah,
don't get around to doing the advertising, marketing, because there's certain people out there that are great at that, And a lot of times I will say, a lot of times the guys who have the really good marketing, it's mostly because there's like 2 or 3 guys working on the comic book. So I'm like, well, you can split the load.
yeah,
When it's guys like me and you, almost where it's just like we're the only person on that book, for the most part. Like,
yeah.
that's it. Sometimes it's one of those ones like there's only so much time in the day. Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna draw, or are you gonna sit there and try to sell and advertise and so on? You almost sort of like there's only so much you can do. So a lot of times I notice for me, I just go, well, I'll just finish the issue up. That's what I'm working on. Let's just do that.
That's what I meant to get you to check. Because I think I fixed the website.
Oh,
If you go on my website, you should now see everything in dollars, but like what it should be, not what it's converted from mine. If that makes sense, because I know a few people were like, I don't know how much, like, I don't know why this is such a weird price.
oh, probably because it's just giving it like an odd, like, hey, it's
Because it was converting it from what I was selling it as in the UK up to what the dollars would be, even though that's not right. But I fixed it. Like I'm able to set it what it is in dollars.
hmm
So it should be now that the comics look more reasonable. I just meant to get you
Yeah,
to check because
it's
like
it's literally
you're over
in
there.
solid prices now.
What is it? How much does it say
Okay, the
for like a
prints
digital one?
the prints are 655. Let me go to the issues real quick. It says 150 to $3. I don't know why it says
Oh yeah, so the digital ones are like a buck 50.
Oh, and then it's $3 for the print.
Yeah,
There we go. Well, yeah. So yeah, now they're in a solid number.
yeah. Just someone, a few people have mentioned it. I didn't know how to do it, and then I figured it out. I had to get like a whole other add-on.
I still love the idea of just having like your store right there on your main page. I feel that definitely kind of makes it a nice like, hey, you got a one-stop place you can go
Yeah,
shop. You can use. I think you could even use PayPal on that thing, couldn't you? I want to say
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it made it super easy to buy right off of there and so on. I think that's definitely sort of the way to go. I mean, you always kind of want to have the few places to go. I mean, there's a couple other places that I've been trying out, just that sort of have like an indie comics selling place and so on. I don't know. It feels like without like a centralized zone, it starts to get kind of spread out, and then everything's kind of here and there, and around. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I sometimes kind of have. It's like it's nice to have them at certain places like that, just for you never know who might run across that website and run into your book and go, hey, cool, I'm gonna start buying them from there and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. There's all sorts of different places going. I mean, even like what's that one that Luke's been using? That's kind of like it's almost like it gives comics out for free, and then you're supposed to like subscribe to it or something like that. The heck was that?
No idea.
He's been doing it for like he's been testing it out on his new series of Dead Ronin, and I've heard other
Oh,
people use it too. It's to me, I look at it, it's kind of like it looks kind of foreign and weird, and like doesn't look the same as like a traditional way of reading comics, but I can kind of see where the appeal would also be at the same time too.
uh-huh.
You know,
Think I know what you're on about.
because a lot of times they do the thing where people like do, hey, every week I put up like 4 pages or something like that, and then you can donate or you can. It almost reminds me like Patreon for comics, but I can't remember what the heck it was called. But
I know what you're on
literally,
about.
I
I
only have an
remember
account
seeing
on
it.
that site just so I could leave reviews for Luke. That was like the only thing I had it for.
Which is fair.
You know, yeah. So because sometimes there also gets to that point too where like. You know, when it comes to managing, like, you know, the different sites you can put your books up on and so on, it's like, after a while, I feel like there's a limit of how many sites you can kind of almost watch and maintain and keep track of, you know, unless
Yeah.
for some reason that was the only job you did, you know. There would be something to be said about having just that, like, you know, having that person that worked on your comic book team that, like, that was all they did. They took care of the advertising, the marketing, the websites, and all those things that, you know, require a lot of time and, you know, at the end of the day almost don't feel like they amount to as much, but they really do, you know?
Uh-huh. Aye. So should we review some comics?
Yeah, you know, we'll bring back a little bit of tradition here and pull out some comics that kind of came out and are a little bit of absentees of the podcast and whatnot. And even speaking of so, like both these comics, it's funny because like the reason I knew about these ones is because on one of them, Luke Brown did a variant cover on, and then on the other book, Rick Joseph did a variant cover on. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll support the cause because of that. That's
Nice.
it's like so that goes to show that you don't think about it, but like because you have a certain person do a variant cover, that might lead you into a sale that you normally maybe not have got.
This is true.
And small things like
Didn't think
that
about that.
you don't think about. It. Someone goes, "Hey, I like that person who did the variant cover." Sure, I'll check the book out. If they're involved with it, they it's got to be something.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of
Which
books,
one do you want to start with?
yeah, as I say, which one? I was gonna let you choose. Which one you want to go with?
How about Maurice and the Metal?
Okay, so this is the one that Luke did the variant on, though it's not on this book, so I can't remember where the heck that variant appears at. Maybe it's on the second issue. I felt like I saw it, but then I didn't. Well, Maurice in the Metal, though, this is one of those ones where it's like it's kind of like the story of like an '80s kid who's into heavy metal. That's his whole lifestyle. Lives in kind of this like shitty town where like it's kind of crime ridden and so on. But the metal's his escape almost. It almost feels kind of like. Did you ever? I just played this recently, so this is the only reason it kind of makes me like feel like it's similar. But that Jack Black game that came out on PS3 and Xbox 360, Brutal Legend.
Yeah.
It kind of had like a feel like that because that's one of those games where it's like it took me forever to finally get around to playing it, but I finally played it, kind of recently, and it's just like, dude, this thing's sick. It's got like over 100+ great metal tunes. Lemmy's in there, Rob Halford, Ozzy. All these cool like cameos and whatnot. The gameplay's sick. Like, yeah, I had a great old time with it, and that's almost how this kind of reminds me.
Yeah.
You
I
kind
mean,
of go into it.
I don't know if it's just me, right? Because I just don't think I'm getting like it's the skip after he like blows up.
Well, because it starts off, it's like they're at like a Black Sabbath concert and they're doing like, there's this older guy who just like loves his
Yeah,
roadie
like
job.
I get that bit, and like they were trying to test it out, and they were like, right, we're gonna make this shit work, and then it just goes bang, and then all of a sudden, here's the kid. I'm like, wait, wait, what?
What I'm guessing is I'm not too sure, but I'm thinking that older guy, because that's supposed to be, I'm thinking like the 70s or something like that, and they just got this like punk rocker guy who's just like, whatever, man, it's just doing a stupid job. I mean, once I get my band off the ground, it's gonna be amazing. I don't care about this roadie business. It's got just like attitude. But I'm thinking that guy, the roadie guy in the Black Sabbath t-shirt, I'm thinking that guy is Maurice's dad.
Ah, shit.
But they haven't mentioned it, but like, of course, when Maurice goes home and he's this kid that plays drums, he's not really the greatest drummer, but like he just loves the metal. But when he goes
Yeah.
home, his mom has that thing where it's like, I don't want you to listen to metal. I don't want you to turn out how your dad did. He dedicated his life to the metal, and look where it got him. And then, I'm thinking that's where it's all coming to.
I didn't say, I just didn't get the connection. But now that you've said that, that makes perfect sense. I must have just been a dumbass.
So this is kind of how it is. I don't know. You be reading a book, and this like some of those things will just go right over your head, and then like the whole rest of it, you're like, wait a second, what was that all about? You know. But I'm thinking that's what's gonna be because of course, the mom he's listening to this cassette player, and she chucks it into like the water, and it gets all electrified and so on. And then as time goes on, it starts working again. He's like, oh, whatever, mom, you didn't break it, it still works. And then he gets like electrocuted, and he gets powers from it. And I'm almost thinking these are all kind of be tied together. And that voice almost at the very end that kind of comes on, I'm thinking that's his dad.
Fair. Well, yeah, that's fair.
So now Maurice, who's getting bullied like as he walks home from band practice and so on and whatnot, now he's just got these superpowers. I mean, literally, he like punches in his sister's room.
That I quite enjoyed that one, like, because he just goes to knock and just punches it off the hinges.
I thought it was kind of funny.
I like that.
They're like my tradition is I always just punch my sister's door like real hard so she can know that I'm there. I guess it's because she's listening to like her music at full volume. Maybe that's what it
The
is.
fact that he's still there going, oh shit.
But that door just kind of like comes in, just like boom, just blast on through, and then the sister turns around like, dude, what the fuck? What are you doing?
No, it's funny though, right? She turns around, unplugs her headphones from the stereo, then keeps the headphones on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I ain't taking these off. I'm one with the headphones.
Just like whatever she's listening to, which I think is Madonna, just blasting out just to piss everyone off, but she's got her headphones in, so she's like, you can all suffer.
Yeah, it's just I think it says like Madison or something, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like a Madonna like band because I think this is '85, so you could tell she's new wave pop kind of girl.
I missed that bit.
But yeah, she's
I really like the art in it, and I like the fact that like how it picks and chooses what to focus on. Like if it's not a focused character, it's kind of like almost blends into the background, but not quite.
It's got nice black and white kind of shading in there and tones and whatnot, and it's definitely picked out well. Like, hey, this is supposed to be dark. This is what's supposed to be the light section. We're gonna focus on here. Really leads your eye nicely throughout the whole thing. I like the artwork in here is fantastic. That was almost one of the main selling points on it too. Was I just looked at them like it's about metal. I like the black and white artwork, of course. I'm sold.
Yep. So yeah, definitely give that one a read.
Yeah, Maurice and the Metal. I know I have 2 of the issues, so there also might be a third one either out maybe by now or in the works, of course. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Would love to see where this goes. I was totally sold whole way through, enjoyed it. But that leads us into El Krudo, and this is the one that Rick Joseph had like a variant of. And all I had to do is you look at like the cover and it's like, oh, it's like you got this orangutan being thrown into like a Vietnam War scene with guns and so on. I'm like, I'm there. You don't need to tell me anymore. Really, what it reminded me of is my buddy, Ryan Dunnigan from Old Man Orange, did podcasts with him and so on. He had a comic book back in the day that I don't know. I just totally drew a blank right on this real quick, but it's called Grit. And it literally, like, when I saw this, I'm like, oh, it's just sort of like Grit, because his was monkey and a gas mask with 2 guns. Like, what more do you need to know?
Well, that's enough of a selling point, let's be honest.
Yeah, there's something to be said about having those, like, those covers that you can almost be like, you don't have to say anything about it. It's just like the cover will do the job, and you're there. Like, because I mean, like, look at the cover of this. If you look at El Krudo, you would just be like, all you gotta do is see a picture of this cover. You don't have to see anything else. You almost don't even have to see the inside of the book. Don't even need a description about it. It's kind of like you're either in or you're out. Right off the bat, like, if this is for you, you're like, dude, I'm there. It's like a movie poster where like it's just perfectly dialed in.
Yeah, I agree.
And then this one also, I love the artwork in it too, because it has sort of that kind of we talked about before. It's like where it's kind of got the sketchy kind of look, but it looks really neat and so on. I mean, even on Pizza Boys 11, I gave a little bit of the sketchy artwork kind of a go because I always liked it so much. And for a while there, I felt like I could never kind of get it down where it has that sketchy yet it looks really cool kind of look. You know, sometimes when I first did it, I was like, I felt like mine just looks sketchy, but not like sketchy good. Just looks like sketchy, like you drew it just really fast.
I think there's different. What's the word? There's using. Oh, fuck me, I can't even do English today. It's not for everyone. Like, I don't like it when it's overly done
Yeah.
because it looks too messy. So, like, there is a fine line between like that nice sketchy look and the overly sketchy. Just didn't want to tidy it up.
Yeah, they're then it starts to look like a death metal band cover of like where you're like, what's going on here now? Now it's like there's so much sketchiness on their band's name, I can't even read what it says.
There's a really cool page in it that I really like. I think it's page 5
Mhm.
when there's like the ambush. Like, it's only like sort of like hinted, but it just looks like it's pissing it down without overly sort of like pushing it home that it's raining. Like, it's just enough to look like it's pissing it down.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure the dude in the middle of that's doing the pose from Apocalypse Now.
Which guy? And well, because there's a part
The
where
du-
it
so you know when like the dude's he's bouncing the baseball off
yeah,
the boxes,
he's going like
and
Steve
then he sees
McQueen in
it,
the Great Escape right there.
and he sees like a pipe bomb thing, and then it's the page where it goes kaboom, and you see the dude splitting off, and then you see them all coming out of the trees, and there's the explosion, and then if you look just above the first gun, there's a guy like kneeling on the floor.
Oh, he's doing the platoon thing. He's doing the Willem Dafoe.
That's it, Platoon. And you knew what I was on about when as soon as you seen it.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. Is like because of doing Pizza Boys issue 9, I had like a very Vietnam kind of theme to that one. So like all those movies resonated perfectly for me. And like I saw them right off the bat here because there's a lot of action movies sort of kind of light references, but not so much so that
Yeah.
it's like in your face kind of reference. I mean, even like the Steve McQueen guy, like there's kind of a you don't think about, it, but when the explosion goes off, you see his hand holding onto the baseball, and he's just flying through the air. Just little details like that.
Yeah.
But
I really enjoyed that.
But yeah, so it just goes into this ultimate carnage. These, U.S. Marines are just getting taken out left and right and just brutalized by the Viet Cong. And then, of course, like a call-in comes in and whatnot. And it's just like the military higher-ups are like, well, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to have to send in our special force trains. No, not good enough. Let's send in El Krudo.
And then we get a weird backstory. Like, I would have liked it if it had said, like, backstory, flashback. Because I was really confused as to why there was a woman on a bike with a kid, tells him to slow down, and then you never see them again.
He almost runs over that poor frog.
Yeah. Would have been funnier if he'd ran over the frog.
Well, I
And then
feel
you
like
get
that's
back-
leading into like that's like the Viet Cong leader guy or something. Like I'm assuming that's going to be our main bad guy, and that's sort of where.
And then you see him flicking a cigarette at young El Krudo.
Oh, maybe that is. I didn't even think about that being a flashback. No,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a flashback.
you think that is because that looks more like that's a monkey compared to like an orangutan.
Well, I don't know what else it would be.
I'm thinking that this guy just is. I don't know. Well, it looks like there's actually
But to be fair, why would you have a chimp?
just hanging from like a POW camp.
Like, why would you get a chimp, lock him in chains, punch him to the fact where his nose bleeds, and then flick a cigarette at him? Like, that has to be some sort of sentient monkey. That's either El Krudo is a baby, or it's his son, or it's his nephew.
Or it's somebody, because yeah, this guy for some reason, it's either that or it's just one of those ones like that they just like, oh, this guy just really hates monkeys and so on, so he's just torturing this poor thing and whatnot. That's why he's an evil guy. I don't know. Now I'm kind of confused. Now we need to almost read farther to see what happens.
But then we just get like a, oh well, yeah. It could be a flashback. It could not be. It's hard to say.
I mean, who knows what year of the Vietnam War this is? But granted, technically, if you kind of think about it, like that Vietnam War, if you include like the French part of it, goes from like the almost like late 40s or whatnot. But so it could be like a super far back. But I don't know. I'm just basing off because like El Crudo sure looks like more like an orangutan than he does like a monkey.
I see it. Yeah. That poor dude loading the mortar though just gets absolutely shit mixed.
He just like brutally like lands on that guy and then shoots him
But
in
it's
the
like he
back,
shoots him first
and
and
then,
then just squishes him.
and then he
Like
just like
every bone in that man's body is gone.
yeah, just smashes the guy's head. And I love how we get multiple shots like of that guy's head afterwards too, just to
Yeah.
reinforce it. And as he's busting in, he's just like shooting out these Viet Cong guys and whatnot left and right and just kicking ass and so on. I feel like it's perfect, kind of like almost like 007 style, like intro, where it's just like, here's this cool action and so on. You don't really know exactly everything that's going on, but we kind of threw some details out here and there. And you got this, kick ass character. Let's see where we go with next. And that's the end of issue 1 right here. But like, there's 3 other ones that I got kind of like in the pack. So there's all kinds of cool stuff going on. I really did enjoy this one. I think the artwork's sick. The story's cool. You can't go wrong with good action. Having a orangutan kicking ass. Why not?
Well, this is also true. Like, what more do you need?
I know. I mean, look at the last splash panel is he's shooting a guy in the head, blowing through his like rice hat, and he's got 2 grenades, or he's actually, I guess he's pulled the pin out with his feet because he
Nice.
he's got that kind of skill and willpower and so on. But yeah, great stuff there. These are both books you should go out of your way to check out. I had fun with both of them. It's kind of nice to kind of go back because it's like I have this stack of like sort of like our kind of like indie comic book reads, and I was like, well, I'm not going to read them until we're going to podcast, so I'm just going to savor these because no reason to get around to them if we're not going to do a show yet.
Well, we're hopefully going to get back into more of a schedule, so.
Yeah, so yeah, we can get kind of things going and whatnot. And this, maybe gets a little bit more drive for all the other projects and so on. We kind of got lined up and, bringing the indie community kind of back together or all those sort of
Well,
things.
this is it. This is why I was thinking to myself the other day we needed to make a comeback. Because I think it's important for the indie community to have a voice.
Yeah, well, one of those ones. Who doesn't like a review of like, a book and maybe learning
Precisely.
Maybe learning
and we're
about
loud. Like, we're super loud. When we speak, people unfortunately have to listen because we're loud.
Exactly. And it's just like, everybody likes a good review of their book, and then also it's cool to hear about a book that you might not know about because, I mean, granted, that's just kind of how a lot of times indie projects are in general. It doesn't matter what multimedia they're from. It's just because, there's not much advertising. So boom, you get that out there. Get to talk about some things and just kind of comic books in general and all that fun stuff, and then as we go along, kind of just go from there and kind of pick up where we sort of left off, try some new things, and kind of play around with the show and all that fun stuff, So
Yep.
So yeah, if you got any like shout outs you want to give to us, well, you can always just do it at our Twitter at Indie Comics Club. That's Indie Comics with a COMIX, just to clarify for anybody who might have forgotten. But you can go there, and then always you can find Craig at Project Savior on there, Project Savior with a U, and then me on Twitter at Spencer S. Holmes. I also got my website of oldmanorange.com for other podcasts, Pizza Boys information, old animations, and all that good stuff. But yeah, we're going to keep this up and keep it kind of a regular thing, and just get back on the groove. Why not? But till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Craig Johnson.
Peace. It's my time.
All they're saying